Hello, my friends. My name is Miss Erin, and I'm coming to you from the Mount Airy Library. I wanted to show you all today how to create your very own do-it-yourself bath bombs. So if you have registered for this program, then you should have been able to pick up your take-home kit at whatever branch you wrote in your registration. But the fun thing is, if you have not registered for this program, that's totally okay. We're going to be using items that that you probably have at home, or that if you don't are very easy to get. So if you have registered, you have gotten a paper bag like this, and the items inside should be your directions. We're going to go over this together. Your bath bomb mold, which looks like this. Now, again, if you haven't registered and you don't have one of these, then you can use kind of like an ice cube tray as a mold as well. Those work very well. Some of them even come in fun shapes. But we're going to be using this one today. And then you should also have one thing of citric acid, one of cornstarch, and then two little containers of baking soda. Okay, so what that translates into measurement-wise is 1/2 cup of baking soda, 1/4 cup of cornstarch, and 1/4 cup of citric acid. So those are the items that we were able to give to you in these take-home bags. What I did not include, but what you will need, is some oil. So I'm going to use almond oil. You could also use olive oil. You could use coconut oil. I thought that oil would be hard to kind of transport in the take-home kits, and also there are some degrees of allergens if some people are allergic to stuff, so I didn't want to assume. So hopefully you'll have some kind of oil at home that you could use. You only need 1 tablespoon of it. So we have our oil and our 1 tablespoon that we'll be using. Another thing that I'm using is I have some bowls here. I also have a plastic spoon. You could use a regular spoon. You could use a wooden spoon. I have gloves. That's just a personal choice because I'm going to use it to kind of get some food dye in there. Speaking of, I also have some food dye, so you could use that. You don't have to. And I do have some essential oil, which you could use too, but again, you do not have to. And then I think that is it. So we're going to get into it. Are you ready? Okay. So let's go through with our directions. So we went over our ingredient list. And now I'm also going to say that one thing I'm not going to use, but you could use, is food sprinkles. And why that is sometimes you might see a bath bomb that has glitter on it or glitter in it. Glitter is not necessarily a great thing to use because it's made of plastic, and that is not a super good thing to have going down your tub. It's not good for the environment. It's not really good for your plumbing system. But if you have some kind of food grade sprinkle, you could use that, or you could use edible glitter, which I know they sell sometimes in like specialty cake stores. But just to make things simple, I kind of left that out of the equation today. So our first direction is we are going to mix our dry ingredients. So I'm going to take one of my bowls, all right, and we're going to open up our dry ingredients. So remember, we have those 4 little kind of containers here. So here's one of my baking soda. This doesn't have to go in any kind of order. Things won't really get popping until we add our oil in. So here I've got my baking soda in, one of my baking soda. And now I'm going to put my second baking soda container in. All right, 2. Make sure it all goes in. All right, here we go. There's our baking soda. And now I'm going to switch over to our other 2 containers. So I'm going to go ahead and put our citric acid in. Again, it doesn't have to go in this order. You can do any of the 4 containers in any order that you like. I'm just doing this pretty randomly. And then finally, our cornstarch. All right, so now when you put all of the dry ingredients together, you can simply just take a spoon. So again, I just have a plastic spoon, but you could use a regular metal spoon if you want, or a wooden spoon. That shouldn't matter at all. All right, so now you can kind of see, I don't know how well you can tell in this light, but I'm going to just mix it all together so that it all kind of looks the same consistency. So if you've noticed, the cornstarch is really powdery, and the baking soda and the, oh, baking soda, my sweater, and the citric acid have more like they're granular little grains. So you kind of just want to make sure it's all kind of mixed together. And that seems okay. So you just got a big bowl of white powder right now. You've got your citric acid, your cornstarch, and your baking soda. Okay. So next, we put our dry ingredients in. We gave it a good stir with a spoon. And now we are going to slowly add our tablespoon of oil while we keep stirring the mixture. This says the slower you add it in, the better. So what I'm going to do is take my oil and I'm going to measure it into my tablespoon. And then once we do that, it says to slowly go in. So not quite like drop by drop, but maybe I'll like tip this over like three, maybe 4 times, so that we can slowly incorporate it. Okay, so here's my tablespoon of oil. That's quite a tablespoon. There we go. It's right to the top. Ah. Okay, and now I'm going to just dip it in kind of once, and I still have quite a bit in that tablespoon. So I dipped it in once, and now, you can see there, whoa! Now I'm going to slowly stir it in. So one thing, you'll start to see it kind of clump up a little bit. It really won't get going until we're almost at the end. And sometimes it really takes time. So what we're going to do here is just kind of show you and then hope that it takes enough time to go through. Okay, so now I'm going to dip my spoon in a second time. Here we go. Ooh, it's time number 2. Make sure it doesn't drip there. Save that oil. All right, so now my tablespoon's about half full, so maybe I'll do it 2 more times until it empties. And then we're still gonna stir, stir, stir. So again, you wanna kind of take your time with this. I'm going a little faster just so that we're not, sitting in front of the computer forever. But the slower you go, and so this is all kind of oil and powder sticking, so you can kind of take your finger and brush off that kind of clumped up stuff, and then re-stir it in. All right, now we're gonna tip our spoon number 3, and then we'll do it one more time before we finish stirring this. Okay, so stir, stir, stir. And so once we've finished stirring this just white stuff, what you could do is, this could be your bath bomb. This could just be it. Or we can go ahead and separate it. So I'm going to show you what I do there and add some food coloring in and some fragrance too. So again, those are optional things. They are not included in the kits that we had available for those who registered, but that's something that you might have at home or that you could easily get. All right, last little oil pour. All right, so now we've got all of our oil. So again, I'm going to kind of mix it. And so what I'm going to do is, once I mix this together, I'm going to break it up into 2 separate bowls. So I had my one kind of main bowl here. And then when I put it in my 2 separate bowls, I'm going to kind of mix it again and then mix the food dye. And for that, I'm going to put on gloves. Why? Well, 1, I don't want to get food dye all over my beautiful fingers. But 2 is that I find that when I did this the first time, I find that it really helps get that color in and get that oil into the powder. Okay, so this is not quite stirred all the way, but that's okay, because right now I'm going to put it into 2 bowls here. So here's our 2 bowls. All right, bear with me here. I'll just kind of do it half and half. And I'm just eyeballing it here. I'm not really measuring what's half and what's not. I got a little more on that side. Okay. Ah. All right. Here we go. So now I'm going to mix this together. And then what colors do you think I should use? I'm going to use, I think, this kind of yellowy color in one and this kind of blue color in the other. What do you think might happen when they go together? If they go together, they might make, what do you think? Yeah, they might make green. Okay, so, and this is really just preference. So what I'm going to do here is put just a couple, maybe 5. I don't know if that was quite 5 or 6. And you might be able to see, I don't know if you can see, it kind of fizzes up a little bit. And then in the other one, I'm going to do like 5 or 6 blue dots here. We'll see. Ooh, I can hear it fizzing. That's that baking soda and that citric acid working with the food dye here. Okay, so now we use that with our food dye. Let me see where we are. This is now your wet phase. You can also add a few drops of essential oil. So I'm gonna add sweet orange, just a couple of drops. And oh, looks like none's coming out. Okay, so I'm just gonna do bergamot. That's the other scent that I had. So whatever you have, you can use. And that's again too. You might want to do just a drop by drop. All right, so they're all in there. So now I'm going to use my gloves. I'm going to put on my gloves. And these are just regular latex gloves. You could use plastic gloves. You might be able to use those yellow like dishwashing gloves. Although I would ask your grown-up for that because they might stain those. You don't have to use gloves. If you wash your hands with soap and then also maybe if you use hand sanitizer, it'll eventually get rid of the food dye if you get it on your hands. But I just figured, better safe this way. So, okay. So I'm going to mix my kind of like orangey yellow together. And this part's going to be hard to show, but I don't know if you can see the color forming. I kind of chose bowls that look like the color we're using. So now you're just kind of mix it together. It's not going to feel like a bath bomb for a little bit because it takes a while for it to kind of mix together. All right, so here we are mixing together. Oh, and I kind of have this, I don't know if you can tell, it's not quite yellow, it's not quite orange. What more it is kind of like a, what do you think? Like a peachy color. I like that though. So yeah, you could make these, galaxy. You could put them like with like a blue and a purple. I don't know if you had like a fun black color, dark color. That would be cool. Okay. So yeah, so I have my kind of like yellowish peachy color, and now I'm gonna do my blue, and I'm gonna use the same ones because it's gonna kind of go together when we put these guys together anyway. All right, so this will take a little bit more, but I'm going to show you, you got to have patience with this because what you see first is it's very like speckly, it's not really coming together, but that's why I think it's so much better to use your hands or, gloves or not with these, because if you just use a spoon, oh my goodness, it took me forever the first time I did it. I was getting so frustrated, and then I was like, I'm just going to get in there. But when I use my bare hands, of course I got food dye all over my hands. All right, now we have this kind of like really nice, like blue color, this light blue color. So we kind of have this like blue peachy thing. It smells really good because I put our essential oil in. So right now, here are your 2 colors. Okay, we're almost done. What you're going to do finally is you're going to take your bath bomb, and you never want to twist this open. Once we get the bath bomb in here, you're going to let it set like either overnight or for 24 hours because that'll really kind of make it bond together. You could always put a rubber band around it or a hair tie around it to make sure it's really kind of pushed in there. And then when you go to use it in your bath, you don't want to twist it because that'll mess up the 2 halves. It won't be a full sphere anymore. What you want to do instead is kind of, and it's hard to do because I have gloves on right now, but you want to kind of take a fingernail or something and kind of pop it in there, or if you could just kind of pop it that way. That's how you want to undo your bath bomb. Okay, so on one side, I'm going to do one color on one side and one color on the other. You could totally do like a mixture, like that would be more like the galaxy look, but I think it'd be really fun to see what the one side looks like with peach and the other side looks like with blue. And now the ingredients that you've got for this recipe, you could actually make, I think, 2, maybe even a little more than 2 of these bath bombs for this size sphere, this size mold. So you could go ahead and reuse your mold if you wanted to. But what I want to show you is I'm filling this up a little more, a little over the rim, because we're going to then squeeze it together with the other half. So you don't want to leave it kind of empty at all. You want to kind of overfill it, because then you're going to kind of push them together. All right, so my one half is done. And now I'm going to do my other half here, and I'm going to put the blue in. Oh my gosh, I wish I had smell-o-vision so you could smell this bergamot. It's a very nice smell that's not quite like a girly, flowery smell, and not quite like a man's man smell. It's like a very, it's good for anyone. It's just a good kind of like soapy, fresh smell that I really like. Okay, and so as you can see for this blue one now, this is a little overfilled too. Ooh, I got all this powder everywhere. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go put them together. All right. And so you want to do this over the bowl, because as you kind of squeeze it together, they are going to, and you can twist it this way. It's just when you undo it, you don't want to twist it. You're going to kind of squeeze it together until the one lip goes into the other. This is another thing that you gotta kind of take your time with here a little bit. All right, I think we're in. I gotta squeeze it a little bit more. Whoop, there we go. Yes, excellent. All right, so now you have your very own bath bomb. Yay! So again, you could reuse this mold if you wanted to, or you could take your mixture and fill up some like silicone molds or like ice cube molds. But if you use this one, you want to just kind of let it, or any mold that you use, you want to let it set for a while so that it can really take shape. And then when you go to use your bath or put this in water, you can just pop this off. Again, you're not going to twist, you're just going to pop it off, and then you're going to see it fizzle everywhere, and it's going to smell wonderful. If you use something that you liked, it's going to look really cool, and you made your very own bath bomb. It's great. You could use, you could make gifts this way, make lots of really cool things. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Bye.